it all. Money, and a lot of it. Fame, a lot of that. Youth, health, everything. An NFL star. Why is he suspected in the murder of the one person who has stood behind him since he was a baby? His mother. Before I get to Sergio Brown, first, there is breaking news. A massacre in Maine, reportedly by a 40-year-old Army reservist who guns down at least 22 people, starting with women and children in a bowling alley. Do I have those facts right? I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thank you for being with us here on Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111. Before I get to Sergio Brown, first to Forrest McFarland joining us, news reporter, U.S. Sun. Forrest, thank you for being with us. Forrest, what can you tell me about this Army reservist, age 40, that goes on a gun massacre?
Hey, Nancy, thanks so much for having me. Now, police say that Card is a person of interest at the moment, but they did warn the public to stay away from him, and if he's sighted, run for cover and call them immediately. He's considered to be armed and dangerous.
Forrest, what happened? Unclear. Is it true that the perp unloaded a semi-automatic weapon in a bowling alley? Do I have that much right?
Yes, ma'am, and the gunman was captured on camera. He has a chilling resemblance to the photo that's been released.
Okay, can
Robert
we just
Card.
say it once and for all? We think it's Card, the 40-year-old Army reservist, there. Okay. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's his twin that we don't know about. His evil twin, his doppelganger. But that said, is it true, Forrest McFarland joining us, that it was a children's bowling league? Killing at least 22, wounding 60 in the very small town of Lewiston, Maine?
Yes, ma'am, it's true. And Lewiston is the second largest town in Maine. It's the largest school district in Maine, and everyone is just covering today. On Thursday morning, school was canceled. So the entire town is just enraptured with fear right now.
So I know you're saying it's one of the really big towns in Maine, but it's still about 38,000 people. Okay, now, I grew up in a very rural area in Bibb County, Georgia. I know what that means. 38,000 people. Why would you go into a children's bowling league and start unloading the suspect, Robert Card, an Army reservist, apparently goes on a rampage at a nearby bar in the deadliest mass shooting of the year, with at least 22 dead. As we get information, we will give that to you, but as of right now, the shooter is still on the loose. As you heard from Forrest McFarland, if you suspect that you see him because he is on the run, I would imagine leaving the jurisdiction. Do not approach him. For more information, go to crimeonline.com. But now we are turning to our current story, which is about a guy that seemingly has it all. More money than you could ever count. Fame, women, mansions, cars, adoration, the works. His name is Sergio Brown. Take a listen to our friends at Crime Online.
Myrtle Brown's neighbors speak highly of the longtime Maywood resident. She's described as a lovely lady by Kevin Greer, very soft-spoken, outgoing, just a happy person, he says, always on the go. Brown's latest trip is a testament to that, as she had just returned from a group trip to Aruba. And when she returned, she celebrated her 73rd birthday on September 8th. Days later, Myrtle Brown's family is alarmed after not being able to reach her. Sheila Simmons last spoke to her sister 6 days after Brown's birthday. It was Thursday. Then communication ceased. 2 days later, the family searched the Browns' home, coming up empty-handed. The police are called. Myrtle Brown is missing.
So this is a 73-year-old mother of NFL star Sergio Brown. beloved by all, still out and about, active, loving life, gets back from Aruba on a trip with all of her friends, and then suddenly she goes missing just after her birthday. Of course, the alarm is raised. Joining me an all-star panel to make sense of what we know right now about Sergio Brown and his mother, Myrtle Brown, age 73. I want to go straight out to Forrest McFarland joining us, news reporter, investigative reporter with the U.S. Sun. Let me ask you a question, Forrest McFarland. What do we know about Sergio Brown's upbringing? Where is he from? What do we know about that?
Now, Sergio is from Maywood, Illinois. It's a suburb of Chicago. It's not the best place to grow up. The crime rates are about 90% higher than the rest of the U.S. But from childhood friends who have spoken with us, the U.S. Sun, we could tell that he seemed to have a good upbringing. His father was very successful. He was the first Black basketball player at Texas A&M. According to his childhood friend Bridget Howell, his parents would show up for band concerts, for sporting events. Sergio was a great track and field runner. He was a great football player. So it appears that he had a healthy upbringing and a supportive family.
So it seems to me like he had a pretty good upbringing. Dr. Bethany Marshall joining us in addition to Forrest McFarland. Dr. Bethany Marshall, renowned psychoanalyst, joining us out of LA. You can find her at drbethanymarshall.com. Dr. Bethany, you know, when a child grows up destitute, without love, abused, mistreated, underprivileged, very often excuses are made for them later in life when they commit a crime.
Temu $20 coupon.
It is argued that that's how they were brought up. They don't know any different life, and so they continue the life that they know. Right or wrong, that is not an excuse for a felony, especially a violent felony, but it's even more of a conundrum, Dr. Bethany, when the person basically grows up with a silver spoon in their mouth, and then they act out. If you can call murdering your mother acting out, that's kind of like putting perfume on the pig. But I mean, the dad, Mario Brown, the first African-American men's basketball player at Texas A&M. He was a two-sport star in football and track. It goes on and on and on. Now we go to this guy, the son, Sergio Brown. He went to University of Notre Dame. I went to a college meeting the other day about trying to get the twins, you know, where do they want to go to college? The meeting was with Notre Dame. We were all sitting in this big auditorium. You know how much that costs? $80,000 plus a year. Did you hear that? $80,000 plus a year. That's some school, right? And that's where Sergio Brown went. So he's had all of these wonderful things happening in his life. He's been doted upon.
You know, Nancy, what you're describing is a man whose early attachment systems were secure. It's the attachment systems